The Tampa Bay Buccaneers just finished 8-9 and missed the postseason on a tiebreaker, so the entire football world turned the channel. The national media moved on before the final game even left the air. They treated the season like a closed book. That mistake might be the biggest one in the NFC this year. People forget how quickly things change when a franchise stops chasing attention and starts fixing the cracks. Baker Mayfield was carving up defenses in the first half of the year before the injuries stacked up. Emeka Egbuka walked into the league and played like a veteran from day one, proving he could handle the pressure by posting 63 catches, 938 receiving yards, and 6 touchdowns in his rookie campaign. The cameras looked away, the experts moved on. But ignoring a team with this much unfinished business is a trap waiting to snap shut. Look closer at what they already built, and the story changes fast. Zach Robinson just walked through the door with a playbook built for movement, timing, and easy reads. He is bringing the exact offensive language that turns good throws into easy wins. Bucky Irving is already turning short passes into open field sprints, and the front office just added Kenneth Gainwell to handle the tough interior yards while catching passes out of the backfield with real comfort. Chris Godwin returns healthy and sharp, cutting through zones with that smooth route running that defenders still cannot track. This offense was never missing the parts, it was missing the translator. When the scheme finally matches the talent, you stop forcing the football and you start letting it fly. The offense is only one side of the equation, and the other unit carries a warning that changes the entire conversation. You cannot praise the passing attack while ignoring a defense that has quietly slipped to the bottom third of the league for 3 straight years. The run defense stands tall, the secondary keeps bending under sustained drives. The talent on the back end is real, but it gets buried when the pocket stays clean. That is where the real crossroads begins. Everything points back to the franchise quarterback and whether the next chapter of his career justifies a massive investment. The contract number gets debated daily, but the real story is hidden in the long road that brought him to this exact spot. The path from the draft room to this moment is not a straight line, and it explains exactly why this entire roster looks the way it does. Let us break down that journey and see what happens when a quarterback finally stops running from his past. Most people see the highlight reel and forget the road that got Baker Mayfield here. This is a quarterback who walked into Cleveland as the #1 overall pick, then navigated a carousel of head coaches from Hugh Jackson to Freddie Kitchens to Kevin Stefanski, only to be shipped out for Deshaun Watson. He landed in Carolina under Matt Rule, got cut, then walked into the Los Angeles Rams building on short notice under Sean McVay and won a game that saved his entire career. Nobody handed him a map. He drew one himself, one play at a time. That resilience is not a footnote. It is the foundation of everything happening in Tampa right now. What he did in 2024 was not luck. He threw for 4,500 passing yards, 41 passing touchdowns, and led an offense that ranked 3rd in passing and 4th in rushing across the entire league. That kind of production does not appear by accident. Then 2025 arrived and he was playing through a shoulder, a knee, and an ankle all at once during the final stretch. People acted like the offense collapsed. He still finished with 26 passing touchdowns and 11 interceptions, and was 6-2 as a starter before the injuries piled up. The offense did not fail because of him. It faltered around him. Now the next contract conversation is here, with numbers floating between $40 and $50 million per year. Some fans hesitate at that figure, but consider this. Zach Robinson runs the exact West Coast zone system with heavy motion that Baker Mayfield already mastered in Los Angeles. This is not a random pairing. This is a quarterback returning to a language he already speaks fluently. The real question is not whether Baker Mayfield deserves the extension. The real question is whether the weapons around him are ready to turn that fluency into dominance. When you look at the skill players on this roster, the answer might genuinely surprise you. The offense has pieces that were bent, not broken. And the difference between those two words is everything. But before we unpack that arsenal, we have to address the unit that decides whether this team rises or stalls. The defense carries a number that no one wants to say out loud, and it changes the entire stakes of this season. Pull back the curtain on this receiving room and the future looks bright. Emeka Egbuka just completed a rookie season where he produced 63 catches, 938 receiving yards, and 6 receiving touchdowns, while making difficult catches look routine. He wins in contested situations and creates yards after the catch with wiggle that defenders cannot match. The arrow on this young player points straight up. Chris Godwin remains a steady force, cutting through zones with clean route running and reliable hands that quarterbacks trust in critical moments. Jaden McMillan adds another layer of young upside, giving the room depth that keeps defenses guessing. This is not a group waiting to develop. This is a unit ready to explode. The backfield situation might be the most exciting piece nobody is talking about. Bucky Irving turns every touch into a home run threat, bending corners and finding seams before defenders can react. The addition of Kenneth Gainwell gives this offense a between-the-tackles runner who also catches the football out of the backfield at a high level. Together, they cover every dimension a modern NFL backfield needs. Up front, Graham Barton, Tristan Wirfs, and Luke Goedeke provide a foundation that does not get enough national credit. They give Baker Mayfield time to let plays develop and open lanes for the run game to thrive. With Zach Robinson bringing a motion-heavy zone system that naturally creates open throws, the structure of this offense is genuinely well built. Here's what nobody is factoring in yet. The draft could add one more weapon to this group, a receiver with 6'4" size and red zone presence that this offense has been missing since Mike Evans started dealing with injuries. But before the offense gets that piece, the defense needs to be fixed first. The numbers on that side of the ball tell a story that can no longer be quietly ignored. 3 straight seasons ranked near the bottom in passing defense is not a coincidence. It is a pattern, and patterns reveal problems that talent alone cannot solve. The root of this issue goes back to one moment that changed everything, and understanding that moment is the key to unlocking what comes next. 3 straight seasons ranked 27th or worse in passing defense. Read that again slowly. This is a team that runs a blitz-heavy scheme, plays press-man coverage, and has a defensive-minded head coach calling the shots personally, yet they keep finishing near the bottom of the league and stopping the pass. In 2025, they ranked 27th in passing defense and 4th in rushing defense. The run defense stands strong, but the NFL does not care about your ground game when quarterbacks are picking you apart through the air every single week. That split identity is not a small flaw. It is a fracture that opponents exploit without mercy. The root of this problem traces back to one devastating moment. When Shaquille Barrett went down with a torn Achilles, this defense lost its most dangerous edge rusher and never truly replaced him. Yaya Diaby has shown flashes and led the team with 7 sacks last season as a young player still developing. But flashes are not enough when you need someone who can consistently wreck a game plan. Vita Vea is a legitimate force inside, but an interior defensive tackle cannot carry a pass rush by himself. Antoine Winfield remains one of the best cover safeties in the league, and Zion McCollum and Benjamin Morrison bring real talent to the cornerback room. Yet when the quarterback has clean pockets and all the time in the world, even elite coverage eventually breaks down. Kirk Cousins hurt this defense on a Thursday night. Jared Goff carved through it in a playoff game. Jaden Daniels exposed it when everything was on the line. Those are not flukes, those are patterns. And when the same head coach is simultaneously running the defense and leading the entire team with no defensive coordinator to share the burden, the accountability for those patterns lands in one place. Understanding exactly where that accountability sits and what it means for this franchise is what makes the next conversation the most important one in this entire video. The coach who built a Super Bowl defense now faces the toughest test of his career, and the answer might surprise you. Todd Bowles deserves real credit before anything else gets said. When he served as defensive coordinator under Bruce Arians from 2020 through 2021, this defense was legitimate. They dominated against the run, unleashed creative blitz packages, and played press-man coverage that made life miserable for opposing offenses. He was a huge part of a Super Bowl winning team built around Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, and Antonio Brown. As that is not a small thing. That is a remarkable achievement that shaped this franchise. But here's the part that changes the conversation. Todd Bowles does not have a traditional defensive coordinator. He carries both titles himself. That means every defensive decision, every scheme adjustment, every coverage call is his, which also means the 27th ranked passing defense in 2025 belongs entirely to him. He cannot hand that off. His overall head coaching record sits at 35-33 in the regular season with a 1-3 mark in the postseason. Against teams with winning records and elite head coaches, that record falls to 7-18. Those are the moments that define whether a head coach is truly elite or operating one level above his ceiling. Liam Cohen left Tampa Bay and immediately elevated Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Dave Canales is building something real with the Carolina Panthers. Both of those offensive minds came through Tampa Bay and flourished the moment they got their own stage. The Buccaneers retained Todd Bowles for a 5th year, and this upcoming season will be the most revealing chapter of his entire tenure. Because the division is no longer handing out free wins, and what is happening around the NFC South right now should make every fan pay very close attention. The landscape has shifted, and the margin for error just vanished. For years, the NFC South handed Tampa Bay easy paths to the playoffs. Carolina could not find stability at quarterback. New Orleans cycled through coaches and signal callers after Drew Brees retired. Atlanta kept resetting their timeline with front office decisions that pushed their window further away. That environment let the Buccaneers win their division with records that would mean missing the playoffs almost anywhere else. Those days are over. The division just woke up, and nobody told Tampa Bay. The Carolina Panthers made the postseason this past season and gave the Los Angeles Rams a genuine fight before being eliminated. Bryce Young remains a question mark, but the roster around him is being built with intention, and the front office is no longer operating in chaos. The New Orleans Saints showed real energy in the final stretch of 2025 with Tyler Shuck at quarterback, and Tampa Bay could not stop him, giving up 2 rushing touchdowns and 55 rushing yards in a loss that directly hurt their tiebreaker standing. The Atlanta Falcons have Kevin Stefanski now and a young quarterback in Michael Penix Jr. who showed genuine improvement when the offense was designed around his strengths. Bijan Robinson is one of the most talented running backs in the NFC South, and that backfield makes Atlanta a real threat on the ground every single week. The Buccaneers lost a 3-way tiebreaker to the Carolina Panthers in 2025. That sentence should feel uncomfortable because a team with Baker Mayfield, Antoine Winfield, Vita Vea, and a legitimate receiver group should not be sitting home in January because of a tiebreaker. The window is real, but it is tightening. And the 2026 NFL Draft is the moment where Tampa Bay either closes the gap on defense or falls further behind the teams that are actively getting better around them. The blueprint for what this draft needs to look like is more clear than people realize, and the names on that board are genuinely exciting. Pick 15 could change everything. Pick 15 in the 2026 NFL Draft is the most important decision this franchise makes this offseason. The name that keeps rising to the top is Akeem Mesidor, the edge rusher out of Miami. He posted 12.5 sacks last season, 26.5 tackles for loss over 2 seasons, 35.5 sacks across his entire college career, with a pass rush win rate near 21%. Coached by Hall of Famer Jason Taylor, he brings power, spin moves, elite hand usage, and an engine that does not stop. Some teams worry about his age at 25, but Tampa Bay is in a win-now window with Baker Mayfield on a rookie contract extension. You need impact now, not in 3 years. If Akeem Mesidor is unavailable at 15, the board still holds legitimate solutions. R. Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma produced 15 sacks over the last 2 seasons, with a pass rush win rate over 20%, and actually improved when the competition jumped to the SEC. Gabe Jacas out of Illinois brings an explosive first step that turns heads in the 10-yard split. At linebacker, Jacob Rodriguez out of Texas Tech is the most complete player available at his position in this entire class. He recorded over 120 tackles in each of the last 2 seasons, with 7 forced fumbles, leading all of college football, 5 interceptions, and 21.5 tackles for loss. His sideline-to-sideline range is exactly what this defense has been missing. In the secondary, Davison Igbinosun out of Ohio State brings 33-inch arms, elite pressman skills, and allowed a passer rating of just 42.6 when targeted last season. He has improved every single year in college and fits the scheme Tampa Bay runs. Late in the draft, Red Murdoch out of Buffalo holds the NCAA record with 17 forced fumbles across his career and contributes on special teams immediately. This draft class has the exact pieces to fix what is broken on this defense. The question is whether the front office sees the board clearly enough to take them. And when you pull everything together from this entire offseason, the verdict on where this franchise actually stands right now is one that most people are simply not ready to hear. Everything about this Tampa Bay Buccaneers roster points to a team that is 1 or 2 moves away from being genuinely dangerous. Not just competitive. Dangerous, Baker Mayfield is locked in as the franchise quarterback, and the system coming in around him under Zach Robinson is built for his strengths. Emeka Egbuka is entering year 2 with real experience and real confidence. Bucky Irving and Kenneth Gainwell form a backfield that can win in multiple ways. Chris Godwin is healthy. The offensive line has continuity. This offense, when healthy and operating in the right system, is a top 10 unit in this league. The defense is the variable that decides everything. Antoine Winfield anchors the back end. Vita Vea controls the interior. Zion McCollum and Benjamin Morrison give this cornerback room legitimate talent. But without a true edge rusher who can change games by himself, all of that talent gets wasted. Yaya Diaby is developing, and he needs a running mate who brings chaos to opposing offensive lines from the first snap. If Jason Licht and this front office walk away from the 2026 NFL Draft with a legitimate edge threat and a sideline-to-sideline linebacker, this defense transforms from a liability into a genuine strength. That combination alone changes the ceiling of this franchise. The NFC South is rising, the margin for error has shrunk. Todd Bowles is entering the most important season of his head coaching career with a roster that is talented enough to compete and questions that are real enough to matter. Tampa Bay is not broken, they are at a crossroads. And the decisions made between now and week 1 of the 2026 season will tell you everything about whether this organization is truly ready to take the next step. So drop it in the comments right now. Do you believe this Buccaneers roster, with the right draft additions, has what it takes to win the NFC South and make a legitimate run in the playoffs? Because the conversation is just getting started.